Hello and welcome to a very special episode of the Park Hoppers Show, and I'm calling this a WED Talk bonus episode. Now, WED Talk comes from TED Talk, where people who are in the know and seem to have some kind of expertise get in front of a crowd and they share that expertise with the people. And WED is from Walter Elias Disney. It's very clever. I know it's his initials. It is not, in fact, a talk about weddings, but some of this information would actually be good for people who are marketing their wedding services as well. Now, what I want to do here, and one of the reasons I started the podcast years ago with my friend Jenna, was I wanted to help her market her business, and I wanted to turn that into sort of a business of me helping other Disney planners market their own businesses, because there's one thing that I see most of, if that's who is listening, you all have in common, is that you are great at what you do, and it's an amazing job. It's very important to, I would say, the economy, to families, to people who want to have a stress-free vacation. It is great work that you do, but it is terribly marketed usually. I love comedy, and when I was growing up, Chris Rock was amazing. Now, if you're a bit younger than me and you only know him from his Adam Sandler ridiculous movies, you might not know the Chris Rock that I'm referring to, but in the late 90s, early 2000s, he was amazing, and he always had this joke that stuck out with me when I started doing business and marketing, and it was, you never hear a crack dealer complaining about all his inventory. He's never like, what am I going to do with all this crack? It sells itself. You just have to be there and offering it. And in kind of a crass way, that is what you are doing when you're selling Disney vacations. I don't know if you've been to the park lately, but it is packed. Even though as I record this, it's summer of 2025, there are complaints of, well, not complaints, I guess. There are talks of the crowds being lower. There are people who are at Universal, which you could also sell packages for. But ever since COVID, I would say these parks have been packed. Now, if you want to keep this in perspective, about 5 years ago, I don't know if you remember, the whole world kind of shut down. And we were sitting in our house, my wife and my daughters, and we had gotten into the habit of watching some of these Disney YouTubers, and it was real strange that no new content was coming out. You know, the last bits that had been filmed and recorded were trickling out, and, you know, some replays while they waited to see what would happen next. But the day the doors opened back up, that place was to capacity. And it was a lower capacity, of course, when it reopened. But by a year and a half later, full shoulder to shoulder, forget about all the problems in the world, that place was packed. And I mean, if a worldwide pandemic is not going to hurt your sales, nothing's going to. But your key is you have to get in between those people and the money that they are giving to Disney. So I have been in the video production world for more than 2 decades, and I'll say that my struggle with my business should not be the struggle that you have with your business. The main issue that I have is talking people into the service, be it commercial or weddings or whatever. That is not the issue with vacations. People want vacations. Like I just said, people, as the world shut down, all they wanted was to go on a vacation to Disney. The demand is not the issue. The only reason that you're not booked up full time is because you don't know how to market. So hopefully this podcast will help you solve some of these issues that you're having. This is going to be a freebie. I really hope one day to have this as a service that I offer to help people make these things. But in the meantime, let me give you this WED Talk brain dump for free. So let's start out with online marketing. And this is where a lot of you live at. And I know it's 2025 and I might be I'm not real excited about the state of online marketing right now, especially in a service like this where I would like to see someone face to face if I'm handing over this much money. And that is a big issue with Disney, is talking people into what many people say is too expensive of a vacation. But we will get into that argument in a bit. First, let's talk about this. All right. I would argue that offline business, so not anything on your computer or online, would be a great way to start. But we're not going to get into that right now because most people really want to market through their phone or computer at home. Can I tell you the most important thing to attract people to what you have to offer is being your authentic self? And I know it's hard because, listen, I've done this for 20 years and I hate being on this side of the camera. It is not natural for me. I feel very uncomfortable speaking right now. If you're just listening, I am very uncomfortable on this camera. I'm very uncomfortable in this microphone, which is weird because I do have a podcast and I'm on other podcasts with other people quite frequently, and I do interviews. It's just part of something that you need to get over if you really want to be part of this world. But be your authentic self. And I'm not gonna name names and put anybody on blast here, but we have a friend of ours, and she is amazing at planning Disney vacations. She's planned ours before. She is a great time. And when we're hanging out, whether we're at the pool or we're having dinner, we're having get-togethers with our families. We love hanging out. She's a lot of fun. She's singing, she's dancing, she's doing weird stuff. She's just kind of an oddball, but she is a blast. But then when the camera comes on, that goes away. And whether it be fear of being on camera, which honestly, the only way to get better is to do it more frequently, or trying to be more, and I'm doing quotes, if you're just listening, professional, whatever that may mean to you, that's not going to help you sell your service, because ideally you're selling yourself if you are a Disney travel agent or a travel planner in general. People want to talk to someone that they would want to spend time with. I know that I've in the past, if you've listened to the podcast, I've referred to the travel agent as cast member zero, because honestly, it's the first person that people, when they have a Disney vacation or Universal or wherever, it's the first person that should start bringing that magic to them. So I know it's very popular to meet at a coffee shop or places like that to sit down and plot out a vacation if you don't just do it over the phone. Well, you want to do that with someone that you want to spend time with. And if you have to change a reservation or you need some help over the phone, you want to ideally have someone that you're excited to talk to when they pick up the phone when you're saying, hey, I need to cancel this dinner reservation, or I need to move this over to 6 o'clock or something like that. It would be nice if the person picking up the phone was someone cheerful and bubbly and you said, hey, this is my kind of person. So be authentic, and that will really help you stand out. Especially, real quick, we'll get into it later, but I have an Instagram account, and then I have a Disney Instagram account, because this is friends and family, what they see. This is pictures of my kids and my dogs and just silly things going on. And this one is all Disney, because I don't know if you've been outside lately. The world is a mess right now. And even though I curate this personal Instagram pretty well with what comes into it, sometimes the bad news seeps through, and I don't like it when it seeps in. If I'm trying to bury my head in the sand, I want to bury my head in the sand. I don't want you using your Instagram account to give me bad news. So I go over to my Disney Instagram account and I look at all these people having a great time. And mostly I follow Disney travel agents or cast members or Disney influencers or people like that who are always in the parks and always seemingly having a good time in a place that I would like to be. And there's something that really stands out when these people are on camera, when they're being their ridiculous self. Now, there will be waves and waves of, TikTokers and people who come over, and there's a trend going where, there's a funny cutout from a movie and a quote, and that's all well and good. But the more that you can be forward facing and people could see you having a good time yourself, I think it goes a long way. Just a sidebar for that. And again, Instagram is a big one for me. Reels. People really, they get in this panic mode about making reels, and I think it somewhat died down, but I still see it a lot. And people I know will spend upwards of an hour, sometimes 2 hours, making a single reel. I also do video production for a church, and I know that in that world, they do the same thing. People, they stress over the right angle, the perfect shot, the perfect music, all of these things. And I got to tell you, there's nothing more defeating as a business owner than spending all that time that could be with your family. It could be further in your business, talking to people, following up with leads and things like that, than spending this much production time on a video and watching it get 17 views and slowly trickle up to that dreaded maybe around 200, which is what Instagram, if your videos are only getting 200 views, it's typically because not enough people are liking them, they're not sharing them, they're not commenting on them, they're not watching them all the way through. That's kind of how the algorithm currently works. So if you notice that you're getting around that 200 view mark for a lot of your videos, that's why. And boy, it is tough to see that happen. So Then you look over and you see someone who has just posted a still video of Main Street or something, and it's got 10,000 views, and it's got some little text on the top, and boy, it's infuriating. So don't let the production side of this thing scare you off at all. You want good content. You want to be your authentic self, showing how you know what you're doing and how you love what you're doing. The great production is just the gray stuff on the cake. And I keep bringing up Instagram because of all the social medias, that's the one I spend the most time on. But honestly, this goes for Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn or YouTube, whatever you spend your time. I like Instagram because I like photos. I like short videos. They really do kind of have me figured it out. It's kind of terrible, but it really works across the board. So people that I see tend to try to sell things on Instagram. They don't do as well as they think, because even if your video is getting 10,000 views, how many of those people are then buying your service? Think about that. And so herein lies the trouble with the online only marketing. We'll use Instagram for this example because it's my favorite of the social medias currently. Say you put a video out and it gets past the 200 views, and it gets past 1,000, and then it gets 5,000 and 10,000. And you're checking your phone because, don't lie, that's what you do way more than you should. And you see, the likes are going up, and 1,000 likes. What's happening here? And 10,000 views, 20,000 views, 50,000. What? This video got 100,000 views. Oh my goodness. I'm changing the game. This video is going viral. But how many of those people are actually using your services then? If you're not just using Instagram for, the curated highlights of your life and your business, are you actually getting money from people who are following you on Instagram? Think about how you shop, and this is very important. If you were going to spend money, and not a small amount of money, mind you, let's say the average Disney vacation, within reason, more than $5,000, and we'll talk lower. Let's say even a low-end one, $3,000. If you're going to give someone $3,000 for something, you're going to want more than just a funny video or something that they shot at their service, because quite frankly, that's a lot of money, and most of us don't just have it sitting around. So let's say a couch or a piece of, I was going to say piece of furniture, but a couch is a piece of furniture. What about an appliance? Something like that in the kitchen, maybe a new computer, maybe something like that. Let's say you have an item. It's roughly $3,000 to $4,000. And what do you do first? If you are like most people, straight to Google. And apologies to you weird Bing people, but Google really is the search engine that is dominating the world. So you might go on Google looking for reviews and probably Amazon. But if it's a brand that doesn't sell on Amazon, if it's a nicer, piece of furniture, you might have to go to their website, and you'll see, what do they have? They have reviews. They've got testimonials. They say, this couch looks nice, super uncomfortable to sit on, or the color's kind of ugly, but I can take a nap, easy peasy. And you think, well, I kind of like that. It sounds good. It sounds like something I would want, and I will take these strangers' word for it because they spent the time to write out a positive review. And let me tell you, people spend a lot less time writing positive reviews than they do negative reviews, but we will get into that in a little bit as well. So you think, well, wait a minute. My buddy down the street, last time we were over at their house, they had a very similar couch. Maybe, I'll ask them. So word of mouth, you see, hey, has anyone else used this couch? Or, this refrigerator that you like to see, I think they had a similar one. Let me go ask them how they like it. So you're looking for other people's opinions and reviews of a major purchase or a product. If it's even a higher thing like a car, you want to know all of the things about the car. You will research that, and if you've never bought a car, good for you. It is the worst thing in the world. But you want to know all the ins and outs, all the specs, how long it's going to last. Does anybody drive that model? What year? Blah, blah, blah. What I'm saying is, you don't just say, that couch on Instagram, that refrigerator on Instagram, that car, yes, here is my credit card. Give me all you got. Take this money. It's not how it works. And it's the same with the Disney vacation. So think about how you shop for things when you're looking to buy a high ticket or really any kind of item. Anytime that you're spending money on something, think about how you would buy it, and then try to apply that to how you are actually selling your service. So if you're online and that's where you're focusing, let me give you the 3 things that you really need to do to get people excited about what you have to offer. Now, the first thing you're offering is information, and this might surprise you, much of the information I'm giving you now, I didn't come up with. I've curated it through my experience and what I've done with my own business and with what I've seen other people do to give you, I think, a concise picture of what's going on. I could go into much more detail about many of these things, and maybe I will later on, but most news isn't news to the world. It's news to other people. Now, for example, and hopefully she'll never see this, but last week, my wife and I were visiting family in Indianapolis, Indiana, home of the almost world champion Pacers and home of the WNBA's Fever. And the reason that I know the WNBA's basketball team in Indiana is because of Caitlin Clark. She is a phenom, and if you can name 3 basketball players that are women, I would shake your hand because most people can't. But they do know Caitlin Clark. And my wife did not know who that was, and it astounds me. So why is that important? Now, I'm doing something with my hand, but I'm starting off high. This is where news comes out, and it kind of falls like rain. And maybe a better analogy would be the Plinko game in The Price is Right, where you drop the chip down, and it hits all the little knobs, and it might go left, and might go right. You never know where it's going to land. It's kind of how news is. Some trickles over here, some trickles over there, some bounces down. Not everybody gets all of the news. So consider the top of the Plinko board. Disney announces something. Bounce, bounce, bounce. It might get into your feed depending on what your algorithm is. It might not. The news does not get to everybody the same way. So to many people, and if you are, which this is very important, to be the Disney person in your group or the travel person in your group, if you are that person in their Instagram feed, you are the one giving them the news Disney is offering. And we're using Disney just, again, as a fill-in. It could be Universal. It could be whatever kind of vacations you sell, but Disney is the popular one that we're looking at. So they announce maybe a new deal or their dates for Christmas or Halloween tickets. Most people don't see that. The average person working, 9 to 5 is at work during the day. They're not getting this announcement in their emails. They're not getting a text from Disney saying, hey, guess what? We've got new tickets available. You are the one breaking that news. You're not breaking the news. You didn't have your little press hat on and go find out when those tickets are. They're announcing it. You're paying it forward. So you are the information giver to your group of friends. And that's great. But that can't be all that you are on Instagram, because information's fine if people are trying to keep up with it or if they have an idea that they might want to take a vacation. The information is great. But if they don't care, it's just boring. And best case scenario, they don't block you or delete you just because you're always just giving them info on tickets that they're not interested in. Now, the second part of your online offerings is entertainment. And this is where, again, it gets a little dicey because people seem to do the same things over and over and over. And if you are the one person in your group, which, again, I should have mentioned that earlier, being the Disney person in your group, depending on what your group is, could be quite lucrative. But let me follow up this section with that. My Disney Instagram is mostly Disney travel agents. I'm going to tell you, a lot of you all post the exact same things. So it's fine because most people don't follow 300 or 400 travel agents because that's insanity. But I do, and I see these trends and I see these waves, and the info comes out. Someone's got to give it. So about 15 minutes to an hour after Disney releases some kind of offer, boom, a wave of it just flows in, which is great if, you're interested in the vacation at this point. But the entertainment part of this, the people whose Instagrams that I keep going back to and the ones that I like to interact with and talk to, you got to have a little bit of something to offer. And, whether it be, you're at Disney doing these silly dances, or you're in your car singing a Disney song, whatever it is that you're being your authentic self but trying to entertain, you need to offer something like that, because like it or not, if you're online offering anything, you got to be a little bit entertaining to keep people's attention. It's an ugly side of it, and it's probably the reason I don't get as much following as I could, because, again, I hate being in front of the camera. I'd much rather have my kids be more entertaining. So if you've seen any of the podcasts lately, I had my youngest daughter do an interview with me. She's very entertaining. My oldest is getting ready to start her own YouTube channel. She's very entertaining. Dad is not. So you want to offer a little bit of entertainment, and then you want to offer social proof like we talked about earlier, proof that you can actually do your job well. So I would say some of the better Disney planners that I've seen, they have plenty of testimonials. They'll have like the R family. They don't want to give a full name, but they'll give an initial and then they'll give a quote and maybe a family photo from Disney. And the person will say, without Jimmy, was it a strange name? I don't know. I'm not good off the cuff with names. Without Carla here, we could not have had the vacation we had. It was a dream come true. We loved it, every second of it. It's memories we made, blah, 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 blah. But it's great. Having a written testimonial is, I would say, chef's kiss minus. Now, not enough people have these, and in all honesty, you should try to get these from every single client you have. I don't think it's too much to ask for the work that you put in planning a vacation for you to ask, say, hey, could you send me a couple of pics from you all having a great time on your trip? And, if I did a good job, a little something about how I helped you do this. And it's not a weird thing to ask. It sounds strange, but it's really, really not. It's quite common in most businesses. You'll get it at the end of an email usually saying, hey, if we've done good, why don't you rate us? Don't do that. Be upfront and ask for it, and people will respond, and they'll give you a good one if you did a good job. Make sure they're also going to Google if you have a Google business link and reviewing you there and anywhere like that. 5 stars in a Google review will go further than you believe with your business, especially when people are Googling local planners. More reviews on Google, always best. But let me get into this next thing. And it's video social proof. And so coming from what I do and my background, this is something in every industry I've been a part of that there's just not enough of. Whether, you're at a wedding, and this, I don't do weddings anymore. It's been almost a decade since I've done them. And I kick myself all the time because this is a great way to sell anything. So just imagine this real quick. A 30-second highlight of the wedding that I just shot and edited. The bride having the best day of her life. The groom happy, maybe in tears. Sometimes you get the guy crying and it's just magic. You get a cute little kid walking down the aisle, throwing a throwing a flower, maybe something silly falling down, a toast, a kiss, and then a quick little 10-second snippet of the bride and groom together, happy, a glass of champagne saying, hey, without Paul, we could never have had this wonderful memory of our day together. We just thank him. And, if you're getting married, you should have him do your wedding too. That simple. Something like that is way better than just a picture that their photographer took of them and then a little written thing. Although that's very important, a video really tells a story. And that's what you really need to do to get people on your side, is tell a story. So imagine this. The R family, that's me routing. We go on a trip and I video everything. I've got my phone with me. I've got this camera. I'm recording this with me. And there's fireworks. There's kids' eyes just wide with excitement. There's rides going. There's just snacks. There's all kinds of fun. And then cut to, we had the best day that's ever been at Disney. We had so many magical memories. We got to ride everything we wanted. We got the dinner reservations we wanted. And we could not have done it without blank you, because we had no stress. It was just fun and laughter all day, and we can't wait to go back, and we will definitely have blank you book it again, because what a magical time. That is so much better than just writing that out and then a picture of us awkwardly standing in front of the castle. So if you watch any kind of TV, people are always telling you stories. It's how people get emotionally involved and how they sell what they're offering as a TV show. So, for instance, American Ninja Warrior. Now, my daughter used to love that show, and I loved watching the people compete. I mean, it was always thrilling to see these people do things that I could never, ever do, because, quite frankly, I just can't. These people are built differently, and yes, I could train and do all the stuff, but I'm not going to. But I enjoy watching these people do it immensely. And they would go down the course, blah, 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 and I could probably sit there and watch an hour of people doing this course. But that's not what the show was, because it wanted to hook more viewers in and not just show the course. So they did interviews, and they showed this person's story and how they started as a child and how, They used to jump off the couch, and then they jumped off the fridge, and they jumped off the roof, and then they built a little course in the backyard, and they told a story, and then you were rooting for them. So when they got to the end and climbed up that wall and hit that buzzer, you were right there with them. Or when they slipped and fell right into the water, your heart broke with them because they told a story. So if you can tell a story in your videos, especially your testimonials, that will go a long way to make more people want to take your vacations. And just a side note, as far as entertainment, it doesn't have to be you dancing and singing. You could tell the story of your own vacation. So typically travel planners get to go more than the average person. And you want to show us civilians that you're having a great time. So while you're there, get video of you having fun. Get video of you riding rides, POV shots, point of view, like seeing the ride as it goes around, does whatever, the things that people are missing out on, the sights and the sounds, and talk about the smells. Anything that would make people have FOMO, because as much as I hate it, that is what sells the vacation while you're sitting at work, or you're scrolling in the bathroom, or you're doing whatever on your social media and you see, man, this person is having the time of their life. I want to do that too. That's how you sell a vacation, is telling a story in all its different facets. Now, I don't want this whole talk to be just about social media. It is about marketing. So social media is just one part of marketing, and it's where most people like to try to do it. That's why I started out with it. But if you really want to grow your business or keep the same size business and make more money, the following is the most important part. Do you know who you're selling to? Do you know, they used to call it an avatar. They would make like a visual of who do you think you're talking to when you're trying to sell somebody something. And they said, oh, it's easier to sell to this person if you can visualize them in your head. But I feel like some people use that still. Some people have said it's not the best thing to do. Individual attention is better. I'm not going to get into the weeds here with that. But do you know who you're selling to? Do you know what type of person and what, it sounds terrible, but their income? Do you know their interests? Do you know where they like to hang out? Do you like to know, or do you know anything about a market, or are you just trying to sell to anybody who will have your service? Now, when you're first starting out, selling to anybody that'll have your service is what we do. Trying to find a niche comes later. And with experience, we find the group of people that we're best at serving. But it really is important to look at who you're trying to sell these vacations to. Let me give you a little illustration of what that means and how just tweaking this can really change your income and your travel planning business. So I've been called, hopefully lovingly, maybe the cheapest man alive, and that the only target market I should be in is for free t-shirts. And I think it's very funny, Pat, but it's not too far from the truth. Disney is the one thing that really I will splurge on if I have to, but I don't love it. I don't, when you have your own business and you see how each dollar comes in, if you're not on salary or you're not getting paid by the hour, it's a lot harder to watch that money go out because you work so hard to make it come in, if that makes sense. So I'm kind of, we'll just call it a cheapskate. All right, and get it over. Cheapskate. So my personal preference for a Disney vacation, I love the value resorts. And now value with a grain of salt because it's not cheap. But I mean, in all honesty, the way the world is now, there's, a Holiday Inn Express, if you're going to Chicago, that costs more than Disney All-Star Music. So, what are you doing? What are you going to do? What I'm saying is I am not your target market, okay? I shouldn't be. Hopefully I'm not. I'm kind of a cheap person, and I know plenty of Disney planners, so it would be really hard to convert me to their side. Ideally, you are looking for someone else. And so here's the thing. I think when most people, and at least a lot of the people I talk to, you think, oh, family vacation, it sounds nice. People who are excited about Disney, and that's awesome. Anyone that you can help plan a magical vacation and have the time of their life and make lifelong memories, I mean, you are doing, I hate to keep saying this, you're doing such an amazing service. I'm not blowing smoke. It really is, it's a great thing because we've planned trips over the phone with Disney and on our own. And we've done it with planners, and doing it with planners, oh my goodness, so much better, so much easier, and didn't cost us $1 more because, built-in fee. So let me give you these 3 scenarios and show you how looking at who you are trying to attract and who you're trying to sell to can change your business and maybe your whole life. So scenario, however you say it. Number 1, family of 4. Say we got, parents, we got a couple of kids, and because I'm not being too creative, I'm going to use the ages of my children currently. And also, I got these numbers from Disney's website just this morning, so you don't have to worry about it. They are pretty accurate as of up to today. So, family of 4. Mom and dad, 2 kids, 1 9, 1 13. If, I love tacky Disney, and a lot of people, I won't say most, a lot of people like luxury Disney, but they, being Disney, have something for everyone. And I like tacky. I like big, ugly statues with bright colors. I loved, like old 80s McDonald's, where everything was just bright and colorful. There were characters everywhere. Some people like new McDonald's, where it's modern and it's sleek. Personally, give me the tackier the better. So, family of 4, let's go to Disney 4 days. We're going to stay at the Disney All-Star Movies because I love movies. I love Disney movies, but I love all movies. And I love tacky statues. I love a hotel where there's no hallway. Value resort, boom, you're in your room. You're in your bed. Even one of those silly fold-down beds, if that's what's going on at Disney. I forget how movies work. We went to a different value resort last time and had the fold-out beds. Regardless, 4 nights. We're driving in. We're getting up Monday. We're driving in Sunday. We're getting up Monday. We're going to the parks. 1 park a day. We're hitting Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Hollywood Studios, Animal Planet. Animal Kingdom is the actual name. Animal Planet is a television channel. Animal Kingdom, and then we're going to bed that night, and the next morning we're driving straight home. No muss, no fuss. We're going to Disney. We're hitting it hard, and then we're getting out of there. So, for a family of 4, 4 tickets, and then 5 nights stay, because the first night when you get there, we're looking at around $3,000, give or take. So, $3,000, not, definitely not the end of the world as far as money, but for some people, they save up to get that, especially right now, the way that inflation keeps going and, anything else going on in the world that's causing money. I'm not going to get into the weeds with that, but $3,000 isn't nothing, but it's not the peak of money. So let's look at that same family, 2 parents, 2 kids, 9 and 13, but maybe a little bit more money. Maybe one of the parents had a better year at work. Maybe they got a raise, they got a bonus. Maybe they're just doing just a little bit better. Who's to say? They like just a little bit more luxury. Let's stay at the Port Orleans, Riverside. Nope. Let's stay at the French. Oh my gosh. And they went to stay at the Port Orleans French Quarter. And just for reference, we've stayed there, loved it. The rooms weren't that much better, but the scenery, the whole hotel grounds, so amazing. So highly recommended. But, you're there and, again, you had a better year, maybe a couple more coins on this trip. Let's stay an extra night. Have the, what I recommend, the break day. So you get there, you have 2 days in the park, and then you take a break and you stay at the resort because it's an actual resort. It's not just, the riff-raff pool at the All-Star Resorts, which I have no problem with, by the way. I just call it that because you know what that pool is. And you walk around the grounds. Maybe you take the little riverboat out to Disney Springs and have a nice time. But there's lots to do at the resort. So you take that rest day in the middle of your trip. 2 more trips to the park. And you know what? Why not get the park hopper? You're going to see all the stuff, and then at night you go back to Magic Kingdom every night and see the fireworks, or ride the rides while everyone else is watching fireworks. Stuff Disney people do. So with this option, you're looking at $4,150 or higher, roughly, for the 4 families. The 4-member family, same family, but just a little bit nicer hotel and a park hopper option. You're looking at another $1,100 in sales. But you know what? Maybe that family says, let's take the grandparents too. We're not staying at the Riff Raff Hotel, which I lovingly call the All-Star Resorts. we're staying in a nicer place. Grandma and grandpa might like that. So bring them on too. You got a couple, now you got a couple of rooms. You got a couple more park tickets. You're up to $7,100 and you're doing similar work, if we're being honest, to the family before, because it's a similar amount of people. It's one vacation. It's one set of tickets. I mean, I don't do this, but the ins and outs are pretty similar, and you've already more than doubled your price. So that's good. But maybe instead of the family that wants to bring the grandparents with them, you start marketing to the grandparents themselves. Now, these people went to Disney way back in the day. They probably took their kids. They may have even gone by themselves in the 70s. They took their kids in the 80s or the 90s, and now they've got their grandbabies and they want to spoil them. And let's face it, they have been in their career longer. They may have a little bit more income. They might be retired and have, money set aside, and they're just living the life. But they want to see those grandbabies be happy, so they're going to take the whole family to Disney. But, we don't really want to stay anywhere gross. We're going to stay at a nice hotel, so perhaps the beach club, and we can stay, you could stay at Port Orleans and you could get 2 rooms and they could be close, but why not get a villa? All of us can stay in the same room and we can just spend all, the time in your golden years together with your family, with your kids and their kids, and just really the whole family can have great memories. And you're looking at more than $9,300 for that same family that 2 scenarios ago was around $3,000. So if you were trying to market to someone like me, you might only make sales of about $3,000. But if you are marketing to someone similar age to me, or perhaps my parents, almost $10,000 for a very, very similar vacation, and you're not doing much more work. I mean, the grandparents will probably even throw on a photo pass, something like that, so they can have all of the pictures of their family, their kids and grandkids having the best time. And then what are they going to do? Well, if you know grandparents, and it's been a big change. When I was a kid, they used to have the wallet, and it was a joke because they would open it up and all the photos would come out. But now the grandparents have their phone and they get all the pictures of their kids, and everybody's so happy and they're having the best time. And what do? They go back to their group of people and they say, hey, Clarence, where were you at last week? Oh, I took the kids down to Disney. You want to see? Boom, boom, boom. Start showing off all the fun. And before you know it, they're similarly incomed people. They've worked longer. They've got their retirement. They've got all this stuff taken care of. This group of people says, well, hey, Clarence just took his kids to Disney and they had a great time. Well, isn't that hard to do? I see, I hear that it's busy and it's packed and it's, a difficult setup now. It's not like when we were young and they say, oh no, I had this girl or this guy that I know set it up for us. And here, you want their number? And then boom, you're in with the grandparents. And I mean, honestly, it's that kind of little shift that could change your whole business, because let's take another scenario. Do you know your numbers? Do you know how much money you're making and how much you get from each vacation, and how much, if you're doing any ads, any of that stuff? Knowing your numbers is very important with marketing. But just a quick one here. The average percentage you get from a Disney vacation is between 5 and 9%, depending on who you work for and what your setup is with them, how long you've been marketing, whatever the details are that you worked out with your boss. So between 5 and 9% of the vacation. So let's take, for instance, that first one is $3,000. So 1% of that would be $30. Let's say you're at the low end, so 5% of their vacation. So that's $150 that you made for selling that. And that's not too shabby. I mean, depending on how long you spent doing it, it's not bad money, honestly. But if you look at the second scenario where they went to just a little nicer hotel, they took the grandparents, that same vacation to you is worth between $200 and $350 for, again, a similar amount of work. Even if it's an hour more, you've still almost doubled your commission that you get. And if you manage to get that third scenario, you're looking at $450 to $500 at the low end for commission for, again, very similar amount of work. So if each vacation you sold made you an extra $200 or $300, where would that put you in your life and your income as, as a parent, as a business owner, as whatever it is that you do? I think it would really be game changing. All right, so finally, let's look at these social medias that we use that everybody's so fond of marketing online, which again, I could get into offline at a different time, but people like to market online. And let's just look at this as everything you put online is sort of marketing. So anything that you post to a page that you also post your Disney content to is technically marketing, because people are getting to know you better. And I would keep any inflammatory opinions maybe to yourself. I know now people like to virtue signal one way or another, and that's great. But if you want the real truth, you're not changing the world with the following you have, and you're only maybe alienating the other side. So you might want to just keep that in your personal life. Just a thought, just a tip. I know I have my certain beliefs in a lot of things, and I keep them offline because I'm not changing the world by posting those. I'm just showing you what I think. And if that was also where I was posting things about my business, you might think less of me for that. So with that being said, Facebook is rough right now. And I'm old enough to remember when I couldn't even get on Facebook because I had just graduated from college, and you had to have a college email to get on there. And it was the place to be. It was very exclusive. It was like a nightclub, and I was just a little bit too old to get in. And then they let me in, and then, this is great. I love it. It was so easy to use. And then, of course, the next wave comes where my parents' age people get into it, and it starts turning into just not as good. Let's just say not as good. But now, and I believe it was said in a congressional hearing or some kind of hearing with Zuckerberg, that Facebook, he doesn't even consider a social media anymore because of the way that they use it for ads and data gathering. So I don't love Facebook for any kind of online marketing really too much now, because honestly, if you get your phone right now and start scrolling, it might be every fourth post is someone that you know, and the rest of them is a suggestion of, hey, you might like this content, or here's an ad, and here's a sponsored one, here's a boosted post, here's this and that. Oh, and then here's Sheila and her kids. All right, well, my thumb's getting sore, and I'm only seeing these same 8 people. I've got 4,000 friends. Why am I only seeing the same crew? It's rough, and I don't love it. And I've seen people have some success with Facebook groups, especially travel people that like to put them in a group. But you have got to interact with the people in your group. And I've seen this where people with, upwards of 5,000, 6,000 people, they have this group of people that they've collected, and they just market to them. They don't do anything else with them. And it's hard because you're not going to interact with that group. Facebook's not going to show you that group if you don't ever click on that group. That's just how the algorithm is currently working. So say I had Paul's Super Fun Vacation Planners group. I couldn't just be throwing these out there. I'd have to individually be going through and saying, hey, Carla, how are you doing? Hey, Jerry, how are you doing? This is going on here. I see that I like this post that you made. You really have to interact with the people for those groups to work really well. Now, again, if you're a personality and people enjoy you, they might come back and click more, but you really have to interact a lot more. And that really, we just brush past it. It's called social media. It's because it's supposed to be social. You're not supposed to do what they call the post and ghost, where you say, hi, world, here's this content I've made, enjoy, and I will go back to my room and wait for my followers to build and my likes to go up, and then people will offer me money to post. It's just not how it works. So the more that you interact with anybody on any of these social medias, the better that your reach and that your sales will be. That is also very important for Instagram. Now, I know if you go to the top on Instagram on the left and you click the name Instagram, and you go to following, you can see the chronological order of your feed, which is all anybody wants. It's what we wanted in Facebook. It's what we wanted in Twitter. It's what we wanted in Instagram. And you have to do steps to do it, which is stupid. But Instagram is only going to show you people that it thinks that you want to see. There's less ads, which is good. But if you're not interacting with people, they're not going to show you their feeds by default, which is sad. And I've noticed the more that I interact with people, those people keep popping up and popping up. So if you want to be the Disney person in the group, you don't have to get on someone's feed and say, hey, Would you like a vacation? But get on there and compliment. Don't just give a heart. Get in their comments and say, hey, looking good. Hey, it looks like you lost some weight. Hey, it looks like you are doing great at work. You're killing it. Oh, I love the pictures of your family. Anything like that. Just something positive on the people that you know's page. So then they'll heart that comment, and then you've interacted, and they'll show your feed more. Right now, it's the one hack that Instagram has, and I hate to even call it a hack. It's just the algorithm's running all of our lives. Let's just put it that way. But that's what I've seen work better on Instagram, is you actually have to go in, put in the work. It's not just throw it up there and magic is done. So be more social on Facebook and Instagram. Now, I love YouTube, and I could do a whole WED talk about YouTube, but I think if you could really figure this out, it could change your business, and it could change everything about your life. I have helped people create YouTube content for years. A couple of them even have the silver 100,000 subscriber buttons, and to varying degrees of importance to them. But YouTube is amazing, and I consider it social media, honestly, as much as I consider Instagram that, because so many people just throw their stuff up and they want, the likes and the follows. But really, YouTube is the second biggest search engine after Google. And I mean, I'm sure ChatGPT is getting up there now with what people are asking it. But YouTube is great. And there are people who make whole careers of just being Disney YouTubers. And it's amazing to see something so big. If you see like a whale in the ocean and the little fish and the barnacles and things go around it, they're living their whole life based on what the whale is doing. In this case, the whale is Disney. And there are so many people who have made a living just talking about and floating around Disney. It's really astounding to see. It's probably easier if you live in Florida, but I've seen people have a great following just talking about, things wherever their hometown is, with video that they have shot in Disney and given tips and tricks. It's something that you really can do. However, it takes a lot more time than Instagram, and it takes a lot more time than Facebook, because you're actually editing video and you're actually shooting video. It's not just you spur of the moment in the kitchen. Hey, check this out. Here's what's in my purse or my bag when I go to Disney. It's actually sitting down with a camera and a microphone. Hopefully a microphone. Or actually showing footage of the park. I'd really say the most video you could do of the park to give that FOMO really works well on YouTube. And, if Disney says, hey, here are the new tickets for the Halloween Mickey's Not So Scary, and you have video of you at that park or having that party and getting that candy and the parades and all the overlays and things like that, throwing that up is a much better way for people to get their news than just typing it out and saying, hey, guess what? It's for sale now. Both are important, but YouTube is better. However, it takes a lot more work and a lot more commitment. Now, Twitter, or if you're on Blue Sky, if you've gone that route, or heaven help us, Threads, I mean, this world is nonsense right now. And if you were killing it on there, more power to you. Keep using it to sell, keep using it to promote, keep using it for fun, whatever it is you're doing. But it's all... I have never seen a bigger dumpster fire than when Twitter went to X, and so many people, unsavory people, came in. People who were mad about that left. Meta tried to do something and failed, and it's landmine after landmine after dumpster fire. I don't really have any suggestions for that, except if you're doing something good, keep doing it. And if you're thinking about joining, I wouldn't join any of them, to be honest. It's such a hot nightmare. Blah. And that brings me to this. And I really think, and I am, if you've watched this far, you might disagree, but I am bad at this. Podcasting and talking it's not what I do well. I have a lot of knowledge, not to, no humble brag, but I know a lot of things. I am bad at getting them out of my brain into the world. I'm especially bad at talking to myself. It's why I like to interview people for this podcast and other videos I do. But honestly, this is one of the easier ways that I found to create content. Now, listen, here's what I'm going to do when this is done. So I've got my audio recording, got my video recording, and I'm going to take the audio and I'm going to post it to my distribution thing. And it's going to send it out to Apple. And it's going to send it to Spotify. It's going to send it to Amazon and wherever people get podcasts. It's going to send the Park Hopper Show out there. So like and subscribe. Then I'm also videoing this, which, I mean, if you're podcasting, you have to. I'm going to take this video and I'm going to put it on YouTube, and I'm going to try to find some title and some description, and I'm going to do not the best job, I'm sure, because there's so much, but whatever. I'm going to put it out there so people can watch it. I'm going to take clips. I'm going to cut up clips from it, and I'm going to put that on Instagram, on my Disney Channel Instagram. I'm going to put it on my Facebook, and I'm going to, something useful and short that's going to lead people, hopefully the full video, hopefully the full audio, and hopefully, they'll like and subscribe to one of those channels, and I can keep talking to them. So if I ever decide to really start using this as marketing, I can do it easily. I really enjoy podcasting for that reason, because it's really, you don't have to have multiple cameras, though you can do as much production as you want. Like I said, it's the gray stuff on the cake. You can make it amazing. You can do 3 camera shoots. You can hire somebody. I mean, I do this for other people. I don't know if I'd recommend more than what I'm doing here for anybody, because quite frankly, it's a lot. But I mean, listen, if you're on it, get on it. But I like the podcasting because it is one piece of content that you then turn into, 20 pieces of content if you want. You make a long form video, you make a long form audio, you make short form videos, you can make short form audio, you can, anything that's bite-sized, shareable, snackable, send it around the internet, and it covers all your bases if that's what you want. So I really enjoy podcasting as far as this, and using it for marketing would be great. Much like your YouTube, much like your offline marketing, much like any of these other things, if you could be the go-to person that people, if you're more entertaining than me, or you're more knowledgeable, or you're more consistent, if you do all these things right, the things that I don't do personally right when I do these things, if you could do that and people start, if you go to Spotify and Google Disney podcasts, and you'll see however many come up. And I've listened to several, and some are real bad. Some are more entertaining than mine, but have worse audio. Some have better audio, but have nothing to offer. Sometimes it's just husbands and wives chatting about things, and sometimes that's very interesting. There's some where there's brothers that talk about the good old days of Disney, and honestly, 90s Disney is one of my favorites. But if you could be something that people seek out, and you have a podcast, you have built so much authority. It's the same with your YouTube channel, or honestly, it's YouTube and podcasting. Any other social media, everybody's got one. But if you have a YouTube channel where you're actually putting out consistent video content, or if you have a podcast and you're putting out consistent podcasts, people look at you differently. And it's very strange, because I would not at all consider myself, I'm a professional because I get paid, but I would not say that I'm great at this. But if people hear, oh, you have a podcast? Oh, wow. You must know what you're talking about. Or you have a YouTube channel and you put out a lot of video? Wow, you really must be on it. It's really strange, but people kind of put you, maybe not at the top of the ladder, but they put you maybe a rung above themselves, which is very odd. And knowing how much work that it takes to do a podcast, it is very strange that it's not that much work. I will say it's the one of these things that does cost a little bit of money up front, because no one hosts podcasts for free. Put an asterisk next to that, but I'm not getting into podcasts right now. If you want a good podcast, you're going to pay, you could pay $10 or less a month and have your podcast out to the world. So message me if you need more details on how to start up your own podcast. But anyway, I enjoy this for marketing. And again, if people come to you and listen to what you have to say about Disney, and then somewhere in the podcast, you're like, hey, if this sounds great and you want to take your own vacation, boom, let's go. I'm the person to do it. It's a pretty easy sell, because you've already built yourself up so well, knowing when people come looking for you and listening to you, they know you know what you're doing and that you're not going to steer them wrong. And finally, I don't really want to get into advertising, like paid money. The thing is, most of these things I like for Disney planners to do marketing wise, because they're free. And I know I just said podcasting, $10 a month is nothing in the big scheme of things. As far as money, if you're making decent amount of money, listen, if a podcast would cost you between $100 and $120 a year, and you should be able to get that with one vacation. And if you're not selling one vacation through your podcast through the year, I wouldn't even have the podcast. It's not worth it. But I like to be able to help people do things inexpensively as possible. So I didn't really get into ads. I will say, of all these things, I know people still do get, I trashed Facebook earlier, but people can still get good results with Facebook if they're using Facebook ads. However, Facebook will promote you more if you're giving them money because it's become a money vacuum, not unlike Disney. But if you give them money, throw a couple bucks their way, they will definitely put you in front of more people. But you have to be consistent with that, and you have to have a plan when people click on that link to say, hey, I'm going to put you on an email list. Hey, I'm going to start marketing to you this way. Hey, please buy this now because it's such a high ticket offer. A $3,000 to $10,000 vacation, that one ad is not going to work, and you're going to have to pay money each and every day to keep these ads rolling. So you can see good results with Facebook ads, but it is a not very inexpensive way to go about it. So in closing, 3 things to remember. What you do is vital. It's great. Don't let anybody just go, oh, they're just a Disney planner. I've heard people say that, and that makes me so mad because you're not a surgeon. You're not a firefighter. You're not a teacher. You're not what any people would say. Those are the glue holding the economy together. You're not the essential worker. I cannot stress this enough that a family vacation that goes smoothly and people actually get to release stress instead of building stress onto it is so key to people's lives. They don't understand. So a vacation that just adds stress, no one wants to take off work for a week. You're stressed, you leave work, you go on your trip, you come back more stressed. What in the world kind of trip is that? Terrible. So please keep doing what you're doing. It's a great service, and I appreciate each and every one of you. I think it's awesome. Don't let anybody put you down or take anything away from what you do. It is a very good job. 2, it is a job. It's a fun job. It should be exciting. You should enjoy what you're doing because you are helping people experience what you enjoy, hopefully, which is vacations in the most magical place on earth, or Universal, or Sandals, or Carnival Cruise, whatever business you do, wherever locations you send people to. But it is a business, and you need to know your numbers. You need to know how much money you're making. You need to know how much percentage, you need to know how much money you're bringing in, how much you're selling, and how much of it you're keeping. You know how much, if you're running ads, how much those ads are. You need to know, if you're printing out things, if you're doing offline marketing, which I say, please do. What any kind of that cost if you're going to a show and talking about it. You need to know for taxes how much a vacation costs, how much you can write off. You need to know how much, honestly, you should keep track of how long it takes for each of these bookings and try to break down then how much you're making an hour. And, when I first started out and I wasn't charging very much for my video, and I thought, well, this sounds like a lot of money. I wouldn't give someone this much money. But $1,000 for a project sounds like a lot of money. But if I'm spending 100 hours to do that, it's $10 an hour, and I can make more than that doing fast food. So keep track of your numbers, know what you're selling, know what you're making, and then start building from there and trying to figure out how you can make those numbers go up. And if you are going to market on social, which again, you should, I think it's where so many people are, and it may not be 100% the most effective as offline in other ways, but you're going to do it. And that's why you're watching this video. And if you still are, you're sticking with it. Be consistent and be social. Don't just post once a day or twice a week or, don't just post on a whim. Try to come up with a plan. Try to say, hey, there's this holiday coming up or this is coming up and I've got to post just for that. If you sit down for an hour a day, which this is your business, this is your job, and planned out a week's worth or more of posts, and then boom, hit them. Let's go. Let's get those posts going when they're supposed to be going out. And then make time to go through. And if someone, leaves a comment, make sure to heart that comment. Make sure to write something back. Maybe go to their page, give them a like. I know people have built up a lot of Instagram followers with the like for a like or follow for a follow. And honestly, it's good for building up your numbers. You're not going to get a lot of sales that way because those communities are great to be in, but they are also already Disney communities. So most of them are already travel agents. You want to build yourself up in your own ecosphere that you live in. So, but be consistent. Go through, maybe pick 10 people a day and go through and say something nice on their Instagram. Go through your followers and say, hey, look at you. I like your hair. Something silly like that. Or, oh, that kid's got a great smile, or look at the sunset, whatever they're posting, just give them a compliment, and a little bit of compliments like that will go a long way as far as the reach that you continue or you start getting again in your social media. So hopefully this long talk, this was supposed to be about 25, 30 minutes, and I feel like it has gone over an hour, but hopefully somewhere in there you have got some kind of tidbit. If you need anything from me, I'm all over the internet, Paul Routon Jr., Paul Routon Jr. at gmail.com if you need any help setting up any of this kind of stuff. And thank you so much for listening, and I will be back with another episode of the Park Hopper Show. I believe I have another interview with my daughter where she wants to talk about our local zoo, and then we will get back into more travel planners and fun things like that. So thanks for listening, and have a great, big, beautiful tomorrow.